where we discuss the possibilities.
Started or
with gratitude.
Hey guys, I'm Joe Klemczewski, founder of The Diet Doc, and today I have a special guest, Shannon Morse from San Francisco, who is a Diet Doc program owner. And as we like to do once every week or so, we have a coaching clinic. So my goal is to bring you guys some of the best nutrition and fitness experts in the world and let them tell you their story, how they do it, how they became so good at what they do, and give you a little insight into their world. So Shannon, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Pleasure to be here.
So I remember 4 or 5 years ago, probably going on 5 this summer, that I was doing an event, a lecture in California, and you were sitting in the audience.
Yes, I was. I was sitting
So tell me what your life was like then, why you came to that, and then what made you decide to become affiliated with the Diet Doc.
Absolutely. This is a great story. I actually found you a little bit by accident. And the accident was, I guess, one of the best ways where we have accidents where we think we're going in the complete right direction and it turns to be the complete wrong direction. And then you find something amazing. Enter Joe and Corey. So I had gone into looking at doing a prep for a competition, and it wasn't specifically for me. It was for one of my students. At the time I was training trainers. And my friend put me on a ketogenic diet, and I decided to do the whole shebang. I knew it was going to be extreme, or I thought it was going to be extreme. I didn't really have any prior experience. And sure enough, it was pretty extreme. He took out all the carbohydrates, no alcohol. I did a pretty extensive liver cleanse beforehand. And about 2.5 months went by, and I would have expected, with the type of training and nutrition I was implementing, that I would see some pretty significant results. And I didn't. Okay. And neither did my partner at the time. Actually, he didn't see the results he was expecting. He would have liked to see some volume in muscle, but instead he became very, very flat and very, very lean, like almost too lean. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't lose weight. So we actually both got really sick in the same 24-hour period. And all my body wanted was a bowl of frickin' oatmeal. And so I had that bowl of oatmeal, and I immediately felt better, and so did he. And then we decided, okay, there's something wrong. Like, this doesn't feel right in our body. There's something missing. And we found Michelle Shepard, actually, in Sacramento, and we got on the phone with her, and she said, you know, there's a perfect peaking clinic coming up. And it was that weekend, and we drove to Sacramento to see you guys talk. And we were literally sitting there the entire time going, wow, this guy is telling us the whole world of what we just experienced. And we both went home. I devoured the 50 Days to Your Best Life book over my first glass of wine in about 3 months. And I immediately applied it. I think I read the book in 3 days. And I started implementing it for myself. And within, I think, 1.5 months, I had dropped like 15 pounds.
So talk about serendipity, just that timing for us to be in California, you to be at your wit's end. Wow, that is pretty amazing. We would have never met if that didn't happen.
Totally.
Wow, that's I know parts of that story from our conversations in the past, but I don't think I realized how on a razor's edge that decision could have gone the other direction.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Perfect timing.
Awesome. So since then, because I know you as a fitness professional and all the things that you were involved in, when you became part of the Diet Doc and started enveloping yourself in San Francisco, that was the first step in you conquering the world. And I'm saying that quite literally, because right now you have partnered with Aaron Merle, the Diet Doc of Nashville. And so you've got all kinds of things you're doing there. You have created your own co-brand called the Diet Doc Lifestyle. And you're also now planning and acquiring new territories. So you as a fitness professional, before I get into some really specific things about your process, tell me what your goal is with that brand, the Diet Doc Lifestyle, and why you're spreading out all over the country.
Such a big question. I think that question has two answers. And the first one would be why expand in territory? And my brain works into angles. We have the logical, and then we have the deeply rooted impact to support people. So the logical and the business mind says in order to grow and expand, you have to be more than just yourself. And territory is the way to do that. I am only one person. My time is only very finite. And in order for me to grow and impact more people, I will need to incorporate people that not only are in different areas that I am, but have different skill sets, because I don't have all the skill sets. And once you derive the strengths from other people, you can really come together, as you know very well, and make this beautiful, comprehensive package and resources to deliver to clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've had this conversation with other people. It's not just that you get up to capacity and you can't do anymore, so you bring on somebody else. Sometimes it's almost the opposite, where you decide, hey, if I want to grow, I do need more people, more areas, more resources, and they can help do that with me. Give them some ownership and watch them do maybe even more than I could do. So kudos to you for that.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
So one of the things that you mentioned to me recently was how currently you're really focused on how one little thing in your life, just focusing on one thing, can impact everything. And I look at that sociologically on a personal level as what psychologists would call kind of a life schema. So there are foundations to our life, and we can only focus on a couple things at a time, or maybe one thing really well. And sometimes we get too comfortable in one area and we need to disrupt that or go to a totally different area to see something new. We'd never know what we're not experiencing if we're staying in a rut. So explain to me what you mean by, if you're focusing on one thing, how that can really change and impact your life.
Yeah. So when we're talking about food specifically, I see food now as a vehicle for people just to place awareness on one area of their life. And it's an area that we all have every single day in multiple moments of the day. And it's probably the one consistent, or one of the one consistent acts that we do every single day of our life. And as our culture has grown at the moment, it's not something that we're taught really in school. We're not necessarily taught to eat something and tune in with our body and see, do I actually like this? Or did someone tell me at some point that this was good for me? Or is it a trend? Is it because my friends are eating this? So that's one aspect. What I'm finding is with clients and different personalities and different challenges that come up is that as they dive into putting such new focus on what they consume, when they consume it, how they feel about it, what internal dialogue they may have around right or wrong, it gives them access to look at other areas of their life. Because as you said, now it's like this life schema. Now it's one area where they're looking at, but then they see the domino effect of where that dialogue may have affected in other areas. And so it's no longer just about food, it's about context and relation to something. And that something in this case has a lot to do with self-care. And so if it's lacking in your nutrition, it's most likely lacking in other areas. And so it really starts to build.
No, that's tremendous. You're teaching me something, because I tend to look at food from a very utilitarian way. And a lot of people think that's weird because of the business I'm in and the company that I own, but I'm just not a foodie. And so for me, the fastest, easiest is going to be my go-to. And I don't really care how something tastes. I have a notoriously simple palate. So for me, it's just about shove the food in so I can go off, to what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I was your client, looked at that and you said, wow, Joe, you're disgusting. Like, how can anybody eat like that? What would you tell me to do? What would be your process in helping me understand that food can be so much more?
Well, actually, I just had 2 ideas last week that we're going to start to implement. And one of them started with the thought when I had a trip to the store. And I don't know if you do the same thing, but whenever I go to the grocery store, I go to exactly the same place. I get the same food. It's like the same list, really. Only if I'm like seeing something cool on the shelf or some nice packaging, will I be like, ooh, what's that? But the other day I went to the store and I was like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to actually look at what looks good to me. So it will no longer be about, I know I should get protein. I know I should get a certain vegetable. It'll be like, does that look good to me? Does that look like the fruit's good? Does it look like it's in season? Does it look like it's been well taken care of? Do I actually feel like I want to put that into my body? And for myself, it was the first access I'd ever had to that. I don't know why I'd never thought of it before. Strange. So if you were my clients, I might go to the grocery store with you and to basically support a process of what looks good to you without thinking about it from the context of this is what I know that I need for my fuel, even though that might be there and that can be worked inside of the structure. There's also this process of tuning in with what your body is actually asking for. And I think we're mostly out of touch with what our body wants and what it actually needs. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to ask ourselves if we like this, if it's right for us. And the other thing that I started to do recently, and I'm inviting clients to do, is to try food with their mouth closed, with their eyes closed, not with their mouth closed.
That could work too.
To try food with their eyes closed, actually see the sensation of what residue the food leaves in your mouth, how it feels going down, how it feels in your stomach, and give yourself the opportunity to actually go, does my body like this?
That is really interesting.
It's just putting it all in. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I have never heard that, and I can completely see how blocking your other senses would make you focus on the food more. That's pretty cool. Good trick. Your first trick with me would be to actually get me to the grocery store, because in today's society, I'm one of those people who now takes advantage of grocery delivery, because that I've figured out that can save me 3 days a year of my life by just not going to the grocery store. So as a business owner, I'm totally in your vibe of making sure that people are having that better relationship with food. But do you find resistance? How do you get to a client like me, the busy guy who says, I just don't really care that much about food? How do you start breaking them into that mold?
These are my trade secrets, Joe. I'm just joking.
I'm interested. I might want to be your client. I'm going to hire you after this podcast.
Well, everyone is different, right? And so I would have no idea that someone would necessarily be in your personality type until I had a little bit more time and understood through conversation where the imbalance is. And I say imbalance as like if we're paying attention to one thing, but not so much to something else. And sometimes what's really fascinating is that it's not so much what people say, it's also what they don't say that shows where their attention is going. And so it just depends on the client. As people come in, a relationship is developed and doors are opened, and sometimes doors are very firmly shut, and someone has to really want it. It's like, I'm not going to encourage someone to do something if it's not what feels right for them. There's really no judgment either way. So if it's for you, I would like to think that eventually my powers of persuasion would take over.
Yeah, well, and one of the things I do love about your process is how much you value the personal connection and relationship with clients. So somebody who is busy yourself, and you have staff helping you, you have different points of contact with people, you have a fitness facility where you operate out of, but then you're also bouncing around the country a little bit. I know you still love to take time with your clients. And so sometimes a session with you might be, doing some training or sitting down for a cup of coffee or taking a walk, and you're functioning with a lot of felt responsibility as kind of a life coach. These people are not coming just to lose weight or just to get in shape, but you have this embracing, motherly life coach, best friend kind of persona. And I mean, number one, that makes your clients obviously like you, but how do you think that differs, or with the results you get, than just a normal fitness professional?
Actually, something that that Nathan, was it Nathan that did the, sorry, I'm forgetting exactly. I have the answer for this. So I think it's not to be like a marketing campaign, but I think it's the difference between building clients and building a fan base. But for myself, I would use the word tribe instead. And I know you like that word as well. When we really focus on actually caring about people, because I don't think I even have an option. I really, really care about how people are going through the experience. If there's a place where I can tell that they are being blocked somewhere, and there's a way that I can support them with tools that I have or people that I know that I can send them to. I think that in our culture, people don't take that much time to do that. And so it gives access to feel really supported, not by one individual, but as a team. And I think our culture, or our fitness marketing, or the business right now, is moving to that direction. But I think maybe in the last 5-6 years overall, it's been still one-on-one, and kind of, you come in and then your life is your life when you leave, and I don't really talk to you or check in with you. And so I think it's evolving. I think people are really understanding that because internet and social media disconnects us, that personal connection is now going to be so much more important and valuable for someone to actually care.
And I love that's something I've noticed about you for years. As you said, as people are trying to just acquire more business, it's all about the numbers. It's all about the exposure, getting out there. How can I be the most efficient and most productive? And every single goal you've had as a business owner, and I've talked with you many times personally, it's always about that connection and creating that social interaction. Even I know some of your plans, we were walking around Nashville at 2 a.m. looking at spaces. And, the first thing that comes to your mind is always like, look at this space. This would be great. Can't you see people just sitting down here after a workout, having coffee, talking, or we can be doing cooking demos over here and that, and it's all about that social time. And I absolutely agree with you that as social media has done more to disconnect people and make them more tribal, we crave now more than ever the opposite, where we do value that personal time. People have less time, so we value it that much more. And I think you're capitalizing on that brilliantly.
Hope to do more retreats and all the party stuff. Here we come.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have, like I said, staff and business partners and plans actually from coast to coast, even here in the heartland. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? What is your business going to look like?
Well, what I foresee the business looking like is that nutrition is the vehicle for something more. So nutrition will ultimately be the vehicle or the doorway to discover whether or not you want to go deeper into creativity, go deeper into music, go deeper into dance. I foresee a lot more territories, and I foresee a lot more partnerships, and I foresee a really amazing group of people, a support system, a very comprehensive support system. Basically a one-stop shop in a way. I hate using that term, but it would be something similar, where if someone really wanted to get out of their box and experience something that was elevating from what their normal day-to-day life was outside of their comfort zone, then we would be able to give them access to that.
Jeff! Is that Jeff,
That's
right?
not Jeff. That's Marty.
Marty. Oh, it's Marty.
Oh, I think he's got his headphones in. Oh, never mind.
See, that's your life right there. Social, just people coming in, being around you. That's perfect. Perfect.
He's got his own private fridge.
Once again, I have to say I agree with you completely on even your planning. There was a research study looking at successful entrepreneurs, and it was found that the most successful people are the ones that have the biggest, most open networks of connection. So you saying that you want to partner with more people and have more staff or more locations and have all these different eclectic kind of outreaches socially, that is the number one common denominator of a successful business owner. So it doesn't surprise me that that's your plan.
Should be good. Can't wait to see what it looks like. I'm sure I have no idea what it's going to look like, which is the fun part.
All right. So give me a couple plugs for your business. If somebody wanted to be in contact with you, follow you on social media, how would they do that?
Well, if someone wants to follow or contact, you can go to thedietdoclifestyle.com. Facebook would be dietdoclifestyle.com or Shannon Morse. Also on Instagram, Diet Doc Lifestyle or the Diet Doc SF. And yeah, you'll meet myself and a world of other people.
Awesome.
Which is what we're about. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Joe.
And thank you guys for listening again. Remember to like and share and all that good stuff you're supposed to say after a podcast like this, but we genuinely do love your comments, and we've been getting more feedback on the kinds of content and topics you want to cover. So keep that coming in, because we've got some great stuff coming up, and we will see you next time. Thanks.